All right, today we get to sit down and talk with Kevin Odell, N0IRW, who is the Oklahoma section manager of the ARRL in the West Gulf Division, and it's coming up right now.
Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, Ham Radio 2.0. On this channel, we do reviews, news, and how-tos of everything that's new in amateur radio. This is an interview with Kevin Odell, the Oklahoma section manager for ARRL. And if you want to get your section manager and or division director on this channel, I'm inviting everyone to come on here and tell my audience all about what's happening in your neck of the woods for the ARRL section and amateur radio in general. So here's Kevin, and I hope you enjoy the episode. All right, man. Well, I wanted to do like an informal thing. Well, kind of informal-ish thing. I talked to Steve about Field Day last month, earlier this month actually, and I wanted to, and I'd reached out to you and the other two section managers within this division. I want to try to expand it. You know, I'm going to focus on my own home territory first, but I want to try to expand it. So, give a brief introduction of yourself. Tell us what you do, your call sign, and then we'll talk about some Field Day stuff.
Okay. My name's Kevin Odell, N0IRW. I'm the Oklahoma section manager. Live here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Originally from Ardmore, down in the south central part of the state, and have lived in a number of states over the years. It's what happens when you're in broadcast.
Yeah.
And I'm basically retired. I do work part-time for the city of Stillwater. I run the video for their city council and planning commission meetings, which right now are all being done, of course, online. But
right. Okay.
But I've been a ham. My first license was in 1971. Was WN5FZL. So yeah, I'm an old bugger.
That's okay. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of you guys out there. That's who we all learn from.
Well, we try. We try.
Yeah. Well, I like your hat there. It says Field Day 2020.
That's the new Field Day hat.
Okay.
And I did bring a few items. I'll show you. I'm going to put that back on so it doesn't show my lack of hair as much.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the
nice
new Field Day T-shirt.
Okay. Are those available now?
Yes, they're available now.
Okay.
On the back is really kind of interesting. It says Ham Radio Tour or whatever, and it has a listing of all the sections with little check boxes next to them.
Oh, okay.
So you take a laundry pin, and as you contact a section, you can check that off.
Nice. That's fun.
They've got mugs. Of course, they always have mugs.
Yeah.
And pins and patches. This year, they have a little cooler.
Oh, yeah.
And it will hold 6 of your favorite 12-ounce beverages.
Okay.
Whatever might be.
Whatever that might be, yeah.
Right. And if we're still in social distancing, that can be a good thing.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah.
Don't have to get up and go to the concession stand as much.
Right, yeah. I won a $50 gift card to the ARRL at the Tapper Digital Communications Conference last September, and it's like good for a year. And I went up there to look at some stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to this until they release the Field Day paraphernalia. So if that's up there now, then I'm gonna do some shopping this afternoon.
They're all out there. They're all out there. I picked up most of the stuff to have on hand to do like this, to show it off and whatnot.
Right. Good.
But, Field Day is going to happen. There's no two ways about it. It's going to happen. And the thing is, as they have said in a couple of articles they've printed, This is a perfect way for field day to happen if we're still in the social distancing situation. And the reason I say that is uh, when you set up someplace in an emergency, you're not always going to have a pavilion or,
Right.
things like that. Uh, you can set up stations 6 feet apart or further without any problem. I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of clubs have gone to indoor kind of facilities.
Right.
Well, this is going to challenge them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you pare down do you go from 8A down to 4A, or do you spread everybody out? Do you deal with the fact that it may be raining or something like that? So
Right.
I think it's an opportunity for the clubs to uh, really kind of stretch themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely no reason not to have field day.
No, that's what we were saying when I spoke to Steve KG5VK.
Mm-hmm.
He was they had made, and he actually came on to one of our. We've been doing. There's 2 or 3 clubs that I'm a member of around the North Texas area, and we've been doing virtual meetings for the last 2 months for
Mm-hmm.
our monthly club meetings. We just do it over Zoom, and Steve came on to one of those meetings last week, and he said that the idea, and I wanted to ask you about this, the idea of changing the rules slightly for this year about how clubs operate or about how home stations operate, where you can't contact. There's something about how if you're working at home, you can't contact another home station, or you don't get points for it, or something like that.
You don't
And
get points for it.
right, right. I mean, you can contact anybody, you just don't get any points for it.
Right.
So it is. Has there been any insight into that about them changing that? Because that was kind of up in the air the last time I talked to Steve about it.
When I talked to John Stratton, our director, about the middle of last week,
Mm-hmm.
they were not going to make any rules changes.
Okay.
And I don't see why you would. I mean, uh, if you're a 1D station, you still can't contact anything. I mean, you're not going to get points for another 1D station. You can still contact him,
Right.
but you're just not going to get any points for it.
I think that the thing, yeah, and that's that fact in and of itself is okay. Whatever. I don't because I think you're going to see a lot of more 1D or maybe 2D stations. You know,
Very possible.
but I think that the thing, something else that was brought up was the um, allowance of a club to use their call sign at multiple home QTHs and then kind of operate as your club call sign, but you're not all together. I don't know exactly how that would. I mean, there's a couple different ways that could look. So I don't know if anything like that was proposed to the
Well,
chamber.
you have to be within X proximity
Right.
in order for that to work. I don't see a reason not to, except for the fact that, um, well, at that point, if everybody's working from home, if you've got 6 stations and you're working under the call sign, that's a 6D configuration. It's not going to be 6A unless all those positions are operating off emergency power, which you could do. You can have
Yes.
a portable generator running
Right.
that's running the rig, and then you're still, even though you're at home, the D classification means you're operating on commercial mains.
Right.
So you can operate as an A classification if you've got a portable generator sitting outside the window and an extension cord running out to it. So I mean, there's that's why I say I think it's going to stretch clubs to do things that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
provide some opportunity of ingenuity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's a good way to look at it.
well, I know that just as a for instance, didn't have anything to do with field day. We did a MIPS exercise a number of years ago with the state health department, and that's when I was still down in Ardmore, and the club really hadn't even been contacted, but we went out there to the orientation part anyway, and we just basically kind of showed up and told them who we were, and oh, great, and they brought out here are the radios we're using, and they brought out this box of FRS radios
Okay.
operating between two buildings
Oh,
separated by 100 yards. And we're going,
that's not
I don't
right.
think
I
so.
don't think so.
And we
Yeah.
had one of the guys go into building next door, and as soon as the door closed, it went silent. And so we sat there in
Yeah.
about 10, 15 minutes, set up had a plan in place,
Uh-huh.
set it all up and operated. And in the after uh, uh, the debrief, the first thing that the uh, health department lady said, she said, "I am now a believer in amateur radio."
Ah. Well, hey, that worked out for the better then,
So,
right?
so yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You may use your ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I know last year for the first time since being section manager, I didn't go on a tour of sites. I actually stayed here with our local club,
Mm-hmm.
and here in the van, I took a piece of 16-inch wide by 4 foot long white pine, set it across the bench seat in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and operated out of the van with all the doors open.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, just use your ingenuity.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
You know, I've always kind of felt like rules were there maybe to bend a little, but not necessarily break.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It'll definitely be different than it has been in the past,
Oh,
which might be a good thing. You know, it
exactly,
might be a good thing for that. So
exactly.
yeah, good. Well, what else is going on? Leaving field day aside for the moment, what's going on in the Oklahoma section right now? Is there anything?
Well,
Um,
things are pretty quiet.
mhm.
Um,
Are you aware of any clubs up there that are doing like a some sort of remote testing or classes or remote classes or anything like that?
there, um, I don't know about any remote classes at the moment. The guy that was doing that passed away about 6, 8 months ago.
Ah,
Um, remote testing, not specifically. I know we do have a number of clubs that are using Laurel,
yeah.
and that seems to be going over well. And then, of course, we've got clubs doing ARRL and W5YI.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think the remote testing, I think at this point, it may be a little early to really play that card.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to go over, but for down the road, I think it is a very positive thing that needs to happen. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to take a while. The league is, and I saw someone make comment on this the other day. Um, the league has some very specific things in place for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
A number of years ago, I mean, back, oh gosh, I don't know, probably 98, 99, somewhere back there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know in Ardmore, and I can say this now because these people are no longer with us.
Ah.
There were a number of folks that were basically selling licenses,
Hmm.
and the emergency manager at the time, he didn't know squat, and he was an extra,
Oh.
and so when myself and a friend of mine decided we wanted to do some testing, we made sure that we avoided that situation.
Right.
And
Right.
the scrutiny's there for a reason. And
Well,
it,
and you bring that
it
up. You bring that up, and that's a perfect example of how I've done a lot of I've done half a dozen or so videos on remote testing and online testing on the channel, and I've interviewed several teams and whatnot. And remote testing's happening now. Anchorage VEC has been doing it since 2014.
Right.
Glarg is doing it now. I know that ARRL has done some kind of in a limited capacity, but the comment that's been brought up is, well, what about how to prevent cheating? It's going to enable cheating. And then someone else, some very smart commenters came along and said, you know what? Cheating happens when you take remote completely out. And the situation
Yes.
you just described is has nothing to do with remote or online testing, and cheating still
Right.
happens. So, you know,
Yeah.
that
I,
just yeah, it's not
I
it's not an either or situation.
cheating in the test is not what I'm worried about
Hmm.
where remote testing is concerned. I'm really not worried about the cheating end of it as much as I am just until they really get the technology nailed down.
Yeah.
You're going to be in a situation where you've got 10 people show up for a remote test and the technology craters and you can't do it.
Yeah.
That's what worries me.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
I want something that is basically bulletproof.
Right.
And
Right.
I think the ability to do that will help us a lot because there are people that can't make it to a test session for
Correct.
whatever reason.
Correct.
And um, I've had friends that couldn't make it to test sessions because of their health situations, and
Hmm.
you know we took 3 VEs and we went to their home and did it in their living room,
Right.
which is a bit of a hassle, but um, I think in any remote testing you need at least one VE on site, and then the other VEs can be in a remote location.
Mm.
But I think in order to uh, hang on to uh, the security of the situation,
Hmm.
I think we need to do that. But like you say, cheating is going to happen.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just it
Yeah.
doesn't have it's just going to happen, and
Right.
regrettably.
Yeah. True.
I know it's not. It's probably not quite as prevalent now as it was when you still had a code test,
Mm.
and especially 13 and 20 word a minute code tests.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think probably there was probably more cheating on that than there was anything um, because of medical waivers.
Oh. Okay.
Because you could get a medical waiver on the code test,
Yeah.
and because you couldn't hear well enough or whatnot, and
Okay. Okay.
when they knocked it down to 5 words a minute, a lot of that got fixed. And then, of course, eliminating it, it got completely fixed in that regard.
True. Yeah.
But
In that regard. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean that's been a hot topic right now just because of the current situation. But it was, and I interviewed the guys from the Anchorage VEC already, and I told them, you know, it's really cool that they've been doing this for so long, so that when the current pandemic happened, they were already ready to go.
yeah,
So they've got the process down. Now they use a proctored process. So in other words, there's a proctor there with the person who's taking the
right.
exam. So it's a little bit different.
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You
Yeah,
need
that's what
at
you're
least
talking about.
one proctored person in there.
Right. Right. And there's a way to do that right now. So
Right.
you've got that option to you right now. And there's a couple other groups that are working on completely remote testing, like the guys at hamstudy.org are working on that. And I think there's validity to that as well, because you know you can get a college degree online right now,
Oh yeah.
and do testing that way. So I think there's where there's a ham, there's a way. I mean, you know, because we can figure it out for sure. But no, I just didn't know if I didn't know if there's anything specifically going on in the Oklahoma section, trying to
Not
narrow it
not
down to.
specific. Like I
Okay.
say, we've got a number of clubs using Laurel, and that seems to be
Yeah.
probably the the biggest thing at the moment.
Okay.
Of course, we're all just waiting to be able to have Hamfest again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, our ours up here, Oklahoma City, will be our next opportunity, which is the end of July. So I'm really hoping we're out of the woods by then.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Oklahoma City, and Ardmore is the fourth weekend in October. I don't see why shouldn't happen.
Should be cleared up
unless this thing rears its ugly head again.
Right. I know they canceled Claremore, which should have been 2 or 3 weekends ago, something like that.
Yeah, that would have been the second weekend in April.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a little bitty one out in Elk City the first weekend in March, and I went out there, had a nice time with the guys. And then Enid is the first weekend in November. So
yes, that's right. I've never been to that show. The first weekend in November is always the opening weekend of deer hunting season in Texas. So that's where I'm at the first weekend of November every year. Yeah, but all right.
Well, setting up a rig in a deer blind probably isn't a good idea.
I don't know about a rig, but I always have HTs in my deer blind. So
yeah.
But yeah. So well, cool, man. Hey, we're this is about the length of video I like to record. So anything else you'd like to say? And hey, if I'll put this out there, and I got a really good response to Steve's video, so I'd kind of like to keep this rolling. We'll meet again in 2 or 3 months and see what else is going on after all this ties down.
Well, the only thing we've had at all was after the tornado down in Medill, primarily.
Yeah.
We had a few guys that helped out the emergency manager's license, so he understands. But other than severe weather, there isn't a whole lot we're looking at. Of course, with the pandemic, there really isn't anything for us to do.
Yeah.
And but severe weather, we are looking for. We're supposed to have severe weather tomorrow. This is what, Monday the 26th. We're supposed to have severe weather tomorrow. So
okay.
Who knows?
We'll see. Good. Well, hey, Kevin, thanks for coming on today.
Not a problem, Jason. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me, and I hope you can get the other two guys together. I'll lean on Dale for you.
Okay. Dale's been inviting me to his they do a weekly Zoom call. Yeah. And he had Bob Heil on once, and he had Tim Duffy on, I think. And I've gotten invited to it, and I'll be, I've wanted to join it each time, and every time it gets scheduled, I'm like, man, I already have something on my calendar. It's amazing how fast your calendar fills up when you're at home all day.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm still working and whatnot. So,
I will tell you that the Oklahoma City Ham Fest, which is the tail end of July, they have a banquet on Friday night.
Okay.
And this year, Tim Duffy is the speaker.
Nice. Okay.
And Tim's got history with Oklahoma. So,
yes, I knew that.
But he's the guest speaker, and I'm looking forward to it. I always enjoy sitting down talking with Tim. But
for sure. Okay, great. Well, hey, do you guys have a Facebook group, Oklahoma section Facebook group?
Not specifically. Okay. We've got a.
There's one for North Texas. That's why I didn't know if there was one for other sections in this division or not.
There's a Facebook page.
Okay.
That occasionally gets hit upon and whatnot.
Okay.
But not so much a group where everybody goes and plays around.
Okay.
So
yeah, the North Texas section group has been a good resource to kind of keep up what's going on in the section. So just FYI, it's that people seem to like it because you can chat back and forth in the group a lot easier than a page. So,
right.
But yeah.
Right, and Steve's good. He's a lot of fun. I've gotten to know him now that he's gotten into the section manager fold.
Yeah.
And though I'm really surprised he does spend as much time on air as he does. A very good friend of mine who happens to currently be the vice director of the Roanoke division, guy by the name of Bill Maureen, N2COP. once told me when I first became a section manager. He said the quickest way in the world to get a ham off the air is make him section manager.
Well, I guess Steve's proven that wrong, huh?
Yeah, really. I get on occasionally.
Yeah.
I
Well,
enjoy HF.
sure.
I enjoy a little bit of contesting. I'm not a contest hog, but I do
Yeah.
enjoy getting on, making 30, 40, 50 contacts, whatever's going on. But,
Sure. Sure. Good. Well, hey, man, I'll let you go. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'll send you a link to this video when it posts, and
okay.
I'll share it around.
Well, don't forget to go get all your field day paraphernalia.
Right. Totally. Totally. Yep, for sure.
Okay, we'll talk
Okay.
to you later, Jason.
Okay, Kevin, thanks for your time today. Y'all have a good one up there.
Take care.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye.